Hi, welcome to Wake Up Well. We're looking at Proverbs at the moment, and today we're going to look at Proverbs 4. Now, I really love Proverbs, early Proverbs. They're all about wisdom, and um, I think we forget wisdom sometimes. We forget godly wisdom, and we focus so much on human wisdom and social media wisdom and BBC News wisdom, and we forget that actually God is wisdom. And so what he says in the Proverbs actually applies to us right now in the situations that we're in. So when I look at Proverbs 4, there's a particular part of it that really leaps out for me, and I think it's something that I've always thought about in terms of my medicine, and my interest in wellness and wholeness. So I'm going to read that particular part of Proverbs 4 to you. It's worth reading the whole chapter, but this particular bit, and I'm going to read from the Passion Translation. It says, "Listen carefully, my dear child, to everything that I teach you, and pay attention to all that I have to say. Fill your thoughts with my words until they penetrate deep into your spirit. Then, as you unwrap my words, they will impart true life and radiant health into the very core of your being. True life and radiant health into the very core of your being. So, above all, guard the affections of your heart, for they affect all that you are. Pay attention to the welfare of your innermost being, for from there flows the wellspring of life." So there's something about God's wisdom, God's words, his truth, his ways penetrating deep inside us, right into the core of our being. And that from that will come a radiant health in our souls and our bodies. We want radiant health, don't we? And we don't often think about that, meditating and eating and pursuing God's word as being a route to that radiant health. Now, I'd like to share with you each morning at the moment. I've been doing it for a long time, asking God what he's saying for the season that we're in, for me personally, for the church, for nations. And I'd like to share with you 3 dreams that I had one night in a sequence, because I think they fit in with this chapter. So the first dream that I had was of a mountain, and it was a bit like a Disney mountain, a princess mountain, where you'd expect there to be a castle on the top or a dragon on the top. But instead there was just this kind of weight on the top, this presence on the top of the mountain. And I was inside, I went outside to have a look at this mountain, and people were staring up at it. And I realised that actually some people weren't interested in it. Some people were really busy doing other things. There was one person who was busy trying to do rotas for work, and there was somebody who was lying on the floor with a sore mouth as if that was consuming them. And I couldn't understand why they didn't want to look at the top of the mountain. And as I looked up and saw this presence on the top, I heard the words, "God is on top. God is on top of the mountain." And I had a real sense inside, like a joy, that I needed to go and tell people that God is on top. God is in control. He is above all things. He has all the wisdom that we need. Then the second dream that I had was of a medical birth canal, and through the birth canal was like a computer generated graphic of water flowing. And I felt God was saying it's time for the birth of new things, new wisdom flowing, new life flowing from his spirit. And then the third dream, I was doing a GP locum in a surgery, and as I was seeing patients one by one, I realised that the medical staff in the building were leaving. And then a receptionist came in and said, "Oh, the other doctor in the building's ill and is going home." So I was the only person left in the building seeing people. And instead of feeling anxious about that, I had a really strong sense that it would be okay, because actually most of the people who were coming to see me didn't need to see me. They needed to seek help from a different source, that they needed to seek help from God's wisdom and from his ways, and from some other source other than coming to me. And as I put all those things, all those dreams together, it was this sense that in the season that we're in, and in the season that we're going into, It's so important that we seek God, that we seek God for his wisdom and his strategies and his blueprints for the situations that we're in. I have a strong sense within me that we're to be seeking him for blueprints for our work situations, our home situations, the plans for our life, our marriages, for our children, for our nations, seeking him for the blueprints and the strategies. And we're doing that by coming to him and reading his word and asking him to speak to us, writing down what he says, expecting him to speak to us, expecting him to download his wisdom, and then pursuing that above everything else because he's on top. His ways are higher than our ways. And as we go with his plans and his ways, a bit like Joshua marching around Jericho, it may seem weird in the human eyes, but if we're obedient to him, then we'll see amazing things happen on the earth as his kingdom builds.